What's up? This is Eric Holmes from the Eric Holmes Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn your notifications. You can also follow me on Instagram, THE Eric with the C, HOLMES. Also on TikTok, the Eric Holmes. All support is much appreciated. All right, here we are. I wanted to take this time and introduce myself. Starting my podcast is the Eric Holmes Podcast, and this is an intro as to what my purpose is and what we're looking to accomplish. So my background is originally from the East, live out in the West for a cool minute now, and growing up, I've always been very observant. Take notes, ask questions, see something, say something, speak up, do the right thing. So what I want to do is just give you guys a background on my project. Like I said, what I'm looking to accomplish with my podcast. So with this, a lot of it stems from 2020. I am going to take this time to walk you guys through 2020, my experience in 2020, and we all had our own individual personal experience during that time. So that being said, I have found that in my day-to-day activities, I'm still dealing with the trauma from 2020. So let's go ahead and go back to that, not to put any of y'all back through that time and all what was happening, but I'm going to tie it all in together as we go. Take this ride with me, and you're going to see why I'm doing this project and why I know this is so important for all communities. So for me, when 2020 happened, first it was the COVID, right? At that time, just like most of y'all, I had no idea what it was. A lot of us still don't know what it was. So, is this pandemic? I've always heard the term, never ever thought I'd live through an actual pandemic. So I was like, all right, first it was called Corona. I thought they were talking about the beer company, but then they changed it to COVID. And then we were all trying to, yo, why you coughing, man? Yo, 6 feet back up. I don't want to touch this. I guess I should use a mask. All that, we're all trying to do our best to get through it, stay healthy, do whatever the science was recommending. We're all dealing with a disease that we never heard about. So then, in that, as we I experienced my COVID situation, if you will, here in Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles went pretty hardcore. So I was here when COVID hit, and we had the lockdowns, the curfews, and all that. So anyways, in the house, and, all the different, we did have curfews, like I mentioned. They were doing kind of like different stages of how open we can be, how closed we must be, all that. So that was happening, right? I was like, okay, quarantine, all these terms that you just kind of read about or heard in science class. So that was all happening, trying to survive this disease and everything and be healthy and not catch the Rona. Then in that happening was when a murder took place of a man in Minneapolis, George Floyd. With that happening, I was really shocked. First of all, most of us were in isolation. Things were really heightened back then. So I've never seen anything like that. I know there's movies, and it's sad to say that there has been a lot of people who have been killed by cops. But that event that happened, that murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, really shocked me. So that was my, just my thoughts on that. So the imagery started coming out, the videos started coming out, and I was shocked. I was disgusted. I'm sure each and every one of you, when you guys first saw that video or the image of it, you guys all internalized it and processed it in your own way. So from there, with that and then all the other stuff that started to just come up of other police killings during that time. Um, I was really upset, saddened. Um, you know, felt like I wanted to do something about it. So, long story short, in that time, uh, I the protests started to happen. Now, like I said, me, I'm always speak up, use my voice, and try to just within my ability correct something that I feel is wrong. So in that, I heard about these protests happening around town. People started to go out to them. That's when people were kind of coming out of being quarantined, kind of coming out of the lockdown. So I've never really done any protests. And literally, like, I'm using the word protesting before all of the other stuff that I'm gonna get into, literally protesting, right? Excuse me. So I finally went out to a protest, and I just wanted to do my part, like a lot of people did. They saw, regardless of race, if that's possible here initially, regardless of race, gender, people just saw something that was wrong and just wanted to do their part to speak up, to march, to protest, and just show support and just let people know that they're not with that. So that's what I did. So I went out to a protest, and I saw families out there, kids, parents, all different colors, all different walks of life. It's Los Angeles, hella diverse. And I really saw just people just not knowing all the details, but from what they seen and might have been seeing, they just wanted to do something, do something. And I went out there, I went out to a protest, marched, law enforcement marched with us, and it was beautiful just to see the outpour of people and just just the unity and the gathering. And that was one of the first times, if you think about it, where in COVID, at least for me in LA, when people actually did start seeing other random people. So there was a social aspect in that as well, and go figure, social justice, right? So in that, I cannot make this up. The first protest I did while I'm marching with the cop, I'm talking with the cop, and we're just discussing the things in the particular community where the protest was at, just things that were happening in that community, his background, how long he's been in law enforcement. I was just talking to him about while I was out there, and just figuring out. So long story short, can I make this up? While I was protesting, in the march, I felt someone grab my shoulder, and I'm like, what? I turn and I see it's like a police uniform in his protest. So they grab my shoulder, and I look, and as I'm looking, I hear the person go, "Eric Holmes." Can I make this up? It was one of my college teammates, my tight end at my junior college when I played football. He's a cop now in this town I was protesting in. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So here I am, yes, it was a protest against police brutality, social justice. It just really was interesting that my good college buddy, a white brother as well, was now a cop, and I haven't seen him since college. That was over a decade, and like we just gave each other a hug, just looked at each other, and just like, hey man, like I got to get out here and support. And he's like, absolutely, man. I got my badge now, but I'm out here getting people water, making sure everyone's good. And like I've known this brother since we were 18, and I've known his heart since back then. And it just tripped me out like full circle that I'm in a protest, and then my brother is out there supporting as a cop. So that was my protesting experience, and just going through that. So then in that, it was a very brief stint when it felt normal. And then as I did one more, it was where the hijacking came in. Follow me with this. So remember, the whole world marched for this murder of a man. Then in that, I saw the hijacking from BLM to defund the police. With that whole organization and the defund the police stuff. First of all, on the record, I've had to call law enforcement before for help. I have friends and family who are law enforcement. There's good cops and bad cops. So the hijacking, what I mean by that is extremism, meaning that if you want to completely abolish all police departments, well, guess what? There's no switch on crime. That's just not going to stop overnight. So that was the extremism that I saw starting to happen just in some of the conversations that were being had and some of the things that were being spun on the media, and just some of the BLM and just some of the energy that was starting to come out where I was like, okay, this is kind of starting to go to another place where we're trying to focus on getting justice for this man and other people that were murdered in cold blood by some bad cops. So then I saw that, and then the next thing I noticed was, it became, are you pro cop or are you pro BLM? Where it just started to get us in boxes. Where like if you got off script from there or said anything different, it's like, okay, what are you? It's like pro cop, pro BLM. That was the only option. Then they started to spin race. That's where the media came in, if you remember this, where it was like black versus white, where white cop, black male, white cop, black male. And then they literally just start turning it up, just start showing us more murders, and then started to put this feeling in us. I don't know if you recall this or not, where it's like, okay, all cops are evil, all cops are white, and then all blacks are BLM members. They're vulnerable victims. Then later were rioters and looters. And so it just started to go back to basically slavery times where it's just black versus white. That was the feeling I started to get, and the conversations I've actually was having with a lot of my black friends, a lot of my white friends, where it was just a heightened promotion of black versus like black, white, cop, BLM. And then it started to go farther to where, the thin blue line, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, and so much so where you couldn't even talk with the person if you didn't like basically say what group you were supporting. I don't know if you guys dealt with that, but here in Los Angeles, it became that extreme where COVID was still happening, but even going in COVID, like racism. So that started happening. Obviously, the media doing what it does and the hijacking of that. Then after that, all the coverage of this staging, right? Antifa, apparently, the Proud Boys, I call them the Proud Girls, whatever. Then all the curfews, and then like who was looting? Was it they were placing like bricks in different cities and all this stuff? So like some staging was happening, back to hijacking, and then this narrative was being created as well. And then after that, the politicians got involved. Where I don't know if you all remember this. You can look this up. When Nancy Pelosi and these other specific Democratic members were all kneeling in kente cloths in one of these government buildings. So I saw that and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So all these Democratic politicians are taking a knee in kente cloths. Whenever politics and media get involved like that, they're going to go extreme. So when I started to see that, I was like, you know what? This has turned to something else. Everything's getting just overlooked. The importance of this initial movement and the honesty of good Americans, Hispanic, Black, white, Asian, everything, trying to do their part to just show support and get justice for this man that was murdered. And then the system, from media to big business. I remember big businesses were like, oh, we carry black products. Why can't it be a good product? And then from the politicians kneeling in their kente cloth. So I saw just all the machines starting to get going where I'm like, now the divides here, now we're an issue we're out here for and trying to do, it's just something else. So the last big thing that I did see was when they started putting out articles of Am I next? It was an article the LA Times ran, specifically on black people, where am I next? Am I going to get lynched next? An article like that. So with that being said, we all lived through that. And when I saw politicians getting involved, it was specifically on the left. Of course, the right was doing their thing. But when they started getting involved, I was like, you know what? They're going to make this extreme. They're taking knees and kente cloths. Obviously, they're trying to own this conversation. And here they go wanting to take the lead and just hijack a movement. So that was my experience with the protesting and everything. Then it became, back to big pharma, right? Vaxxed, unvaxxed, right? Democrat, Republican, all division, okay? So long story short, during that time, we were both facing the biggest disease we ever seen. One disease, the coronavirus, the other disease, racism, okay? In 2020, the only two things that was talked about was coronavirus and the black community in all the world. And the whole world showed up and marched for the black community. That showed a lot of where people are and how they see us as Americans to support us like that. So that was 2020, the two biggest talked about things. Now you talk systematic, right? Systemic racism, all this. This system's powerful. This system took over what the world and good people did and turned it into division, hate, anger. The system is powerful. Politics are in everything. It's big business, it's big money, and it's control. So that's something that you have to really pay attention to and have awareness of. And I seen that happen in 2020 when it started off, like I said, from this disgusting, heinous act towards a man, a murder, to all of these tools that be taking it and making it something else and then totally just dividing people and having us just, trying to survive and make a statement and be relevant and be supported. So that's where it went, and it went way too far, okay? So my segment is on this. This is what it's titled. Give me just a second. It's titled, Whites Gone Wild and Blacks Gone Rogue. Hear me out on this. Follow me. Meaning, what I noticed also out of 2020 is that you got a liberal white person talking about a conservative white person about black people, and none of us are in the conversation. You got a liberal, I'm saying you got a liberal white person talking about blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and about conservative white people, then white people responding to what the liberal white person said. And then, like I said, none of us said any of that shit. And then when we do speak up or get off script, whoa, this black guy has an opinion? Whoa, he's thinking? He said what? And then you're canceled. Or you're called an Uncle Tom by whites and blacks. So with that being said, I got specific examples of conversations that I have had with liberal whites. Then I'm getting to conversations that I have had with conservative whites. So, whites gone wild, blacks gone rogue, okay? Before I get into this, you will have to ask yourself, am I a white who has gone wild? Am I a black who has gone rogue? Follow me on this. So, I had a roommate in the height of the pandemic. He's a European American, white guy. You know who you are. We'll just call him Larry for this segment, all right? Larry was walking around the house with a gas mask on in the height of the pandemic. Cannot make this up, all right? Larry went down, let's just say he went down a rabbit hole. Dude was wearing a gas mask. It was actually quite amazing to see. It was amazing to see. I was like, damn, son is wearing a full-on gas mask in the house because whatever he's been watching about this coronavirus has took this man there. That was that, okay? Long story short, as the pandemic went on and we started to be allowed out on good behavior to come out, Larry started to get a little comfortable, right? Started to come out of his room a bit. The gas mask was off. Cool. Long story short, white Larry, not to bring up race, but race isn't everything now. We had some screwdrivers, right? That's vodka orange juice. He got a little loose, got a little comfortable. As we're talking, I'm just a brother trying to have a drink in the height of this stuff. Can I make this up? We're all drinking in the house, chilling. And then as he got more comfortable, got a little liquor in him, all of a sudden Larry goes, Larry, must save Eric. Can I make this up? I said, say it again, Larry? Yes, I must save you because I am white, you're black, and you guys need me to save you and speak up for you. I was like, son, who have you ever saved in your life? Ever? Like, you are a hypochondriac, malnourished. Who have you ever saved, and when have I ever asked you to save me, Larry? Well, no, it's just that I have some friends that are black and they say how they feel about things they've been through. I said, yo, that's an individual. I'm not grouping. I said, I got white friends who think and feel this about other whites. I'm not grouping all y'all. So I'm like, when have I Eric, black Eric, since obviously you see things in color like a lot of people do, got it. When have I ever asked you to help me or save me? I'm like, exactly. I'm a grown ass man. I was like, you think John Jones needs saving, homie? You think these killers need saving in these streets? Have you ever been out in these streets? Have you ever been in any of these neighborhoods? He's like, no. So anyways, that was Larry, a very liberal man. He'll let you know. So that's him. That's the white savior mentality, right? Other conversations I've had with liberal whites out here in Los Angeles. Met this one chick. She was from Tennessee, white chick. Don't mean to bring up race, but anyways, it is what it is in this day and time, right? So we went out, had a few drinks. Things were cool. She's originally from Tennessee. She's out here in LA, and she's on some racial justice committee, okay? White chick on a racial justice committee, liberal. I was like, all right. It did involve drinking again at this little local spot. And then even with her, as the night progressed, somehow cops came up in the conversation, all right? And then I just said, like I said, I know there's good cops, there's bad cops, right? And, I'm not going to totally defund the police because there's no switch on crime. Crime's just not just going to stop. It's like she saw a ghost. But I don't even know how we got on law enforcement. But anyways, it came up. Her face, her demeanor, her body language just like completely changed because she was just like talking something about police. And I cannot lie, a lot of, again, white liberals seem to think for blacks or Hispanics and Asians, and like they know everything that we need and how we think and operate. So she was just like projecting like, oh, for sure, Eric's going to say or think this. He's a black male. So she said something about law enforcement. And then I said, what are you talking about? Long story short, she told me, cannot make this up, that all cops are bad, and that all cops are against black people, and that I, as a black man, would not know what it's like to be faced with racism. That she knows what racism is more than me. Can I make this up? That's another white liberal. Lastly, I've had other conversations with liberals when I say I'm not a Democrat. I speak, more moderately, or I might say some things on the conservative side, and they're like, Eric, what are you talking about? You're black. That's from a liberal side, all right? So that's whites gone wild, okay? Other whites gone wild. These are examples, like real life examples that in conversations I have had. On the conservative side, same deal. Cannot make this up. During the height of the pandemic, when it was not the height, it was also when it was kind of tapering down. Everyone was going down to Orange County here because that's where like the bars are still open. I did do my part, so I did quarantine, okay? But it just hit a point where I wanted to go have a little stiff beverage, you know what I'm talking about? So I ended up going down to this joint down in South Orange County, all right? Me and my boys, right? So we're just at the bar, just trying to have a drink, trying to figure it out. We all went through this shutdown. We're all dealing with this stuff. So long story short, I'm at the bar just trying to have a beverage. A man can have a drink. Chilling there. Then there's these two couples, right? They want to start talking to us. They were conservative, okay? And so then this white couple walks over to us at the bar, and they start telling us, me and my other black friends at the bar, that like, oh, you guys are BLM members. What the freak? Yeah, how can you think or feel like that? Like, don't you know that America, that like blacks are a part of America? Don't you know? And you as BLM members, I don't even know these white people. Never even met them. Coming at me like that. I'm just at the bar trying to get faded. So then they hit me with that, and then it was the chick that started like really going like, yeah, you guys doing this, you BLM members doing that. Long story short, me and the boys, and mind you, of course, her dude's a little dude, and the other couple, we respect women. We don't put our hands on women ever as men. But we told them, we were like, yo, you need to shut your broad up, because if you don't, we're going to have to knock y'all out. Simple. Because, like, this ain't going nowhere. And then what if we were BLM members? What's up? What if we were? And then like, sorry, this and that. I'm like, yo, like, we don't know you. You don't know us. So how the hell are you judging us and trying to call us BLM members? And like I said, like, what if we were? So then from there, they calmed down. We checked them, and we're like, yo, we're easy going, but this hostility, we're going to match it with hostility. So then, long story short, we found out they were swingers. The blondie chick, she ended up wanting me to carry her and is asking me if I think she's beautiful. I did carry her for a little bit, but but so yeah, like I said, I'm just a chill dude. And I get in these conversations, and these is whites bugging on me, a black dude that ain't even saying anything, because a lot of blacks have gone rogue. It's like I said, you must ask yourself, are you a black who has gone rogue? If so, insert yourself in the conversation. That's why I'm starting the conversation, because you got to remember, check this out. Another thing in this white-dominated conversation, white liberal, white conservative, talking about blacks, but blacks ain't even on the table. And like I said, they got us on a script, and once we get off the script, then the powers that be want to cancel you. But check this out. In your personal conversation, you can think if you've ever dealt with this or not. As long as you're talking sports, food, entertainment, Netflix, as a what they call as a BIPOC, I think it's black, indigenous people of color. As long as you're talking all that fun, foofy stuff, it's cool. With your white coworkers, your black coworkers, like, oh yeah, NBA playoffs, this is happening, it's going like this. Oh, cool. But the minute, try this out. This hasn't happened to you. Try this out. The minute you, as a black person or a POC, brings up politics. Now, historically, you weren't supposed to talk politics or religion, right? But like I said, it's in everything now. The moment you bring up politics and say that you're not a Democrat, do they not lose their stuff? Just think back. Maybe I'll give you a little time to think back on any scenarios or times. I got a lot that run through my head. So for me, in the times that I have said that, people damn near drop their drinks. I've had a dude leave the party. Rooms would clear out. I'm like, I'm just not a Democrat, dog. Like, I lean more right or the middle. And then they're like I said, but you're black. Or like, oh my gosh, wait, what did you say? But as long as I was talking sports, entertainment, it was all good. Now, what's also funny is if a white person says that they're a Republican, a liberal, this and that, they can talk all day. It's fine. They don't get no it's not fine. Everyone hates Trump supporters and conservatives, but I just had to say where it's like, if you're not white, you can't get off script and say that you're not a Democrat, but whites can comfortably be, yes, this is John, my Republican friend. This is Bill, my liberal friend. It's fine. So what I'm saying is, it's time for us to come to the table, because like I said, politics is big business. It's a lot of money. It's about control. So it's time for us to come to the table and insert ourselves in a conversation. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not going to just bore you guys all the time with politics, but we also need to be in this space. All right. So really start inserting yourselves. And like I said, if you're black who's gone rogue, you're going to blame yourself. All right. So now, as we're moving along here, lastly, after all this stuff that happened and all what we went through from the beginning of 2020, first from COVID to the protesting, what sadly turned into rioting, looting, into the hyper promotion of racism, black versus white, Democrat, Republican, vax, unvax, all that. Fast forward to now, I'm doing this show because it's time for us to have healthy, meaningful conversations. Okay? We got to start respecting each other as we converse, right? You might not like my opinion, I might not like yours, but it's an opinion. You got to respect people's opinion. Where the hell did we get to a point where we're going to cancel a person if they have a differing of opinions? Safe space. Are we not adults? That's not reality. That's not real world. If you don't like someone's opinion, you debate them. You tell them your opinion. Back it up with facts. What the hell? Miss, disinformation is not safe. It's not safe. Give them a safe space. Don't put that type of messaging out there. What? Well, if that's the case, then that's not how you build a society of logic and IQ. So for me, that's offensive. Where do you not think that we don't have a high IQ? We do not have logic. We do not have common sense. So that's what I'm doing with this show. In this show, I will bring debate back. I will bring healthy conversations back. I will value other people's opinions. I am going to bring people on, going to talk some shit, which is fine. It's going to get a little wild. And simply as this, if it offends you and you don't like it, just change the channel, baby. You know what I'm saying? So that's with that. And then also the type of people that I will be bringing on, it's going to be everybody from, neighborhood heroes, experts, small business owners, entertainers, politicians, athletes, blue-collar folks, and anyone in between. It's going to get good. Stay tuned. And the main purpose I'm doing this is because 2020 has left us with a lot of confusion, a lot of division, and a lot of trauma. And we got to get ahead of this and back to normal living and back to being healthy, productive Americans. This is the best nation in the world. We got a lot of good brothers and sisters in this country. They come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes. And it's time to give them a platform and a voice to speak. And like I said, I'm going to insert myself in this conversation. Lastly, let's get talking again, America.
Innovative.